The Indo-Europeans were a prehistoric group of people who spoke a common language, known as Proto-Indo-European, PIE, and whose descendants spread across vast regions of Europe and Asia. Their migrations, cultural exchanges, and conquests between 4000 and 1000 BCE laid the foundation for many of the world's ancient civilizations, and their languages gave rise to the Indo-European language family, which includes languages spoken by over half the global population today. The Proto-Indo-European homeland. The origin of the Indo-Europeans has been a subject of debate among scholars for centuries. The most widely accepted theory, known as the Kurgan hypothesis, suggests that the Proto-Indo-Europeans originated in the Pontic-Caspian steppe, a vast grassland region stretching from modern-day Ukraine and southern Russia to Kazakhstan. This theory, proposed by archaeologist Maria Gimbutas in the 1950s, is based on linguistic, archaeological, and genetic evidence. According to the Kurgan hypothesis, the Proto-Indo-Europeans were originally a semi-nomadic people who practiced pastoralism, raising cattle, horses, and sheep. They lived in small, patriarchal communities and likely engaged in trade and warfare with neighboring groups. The word Kurgan refers to the burial mounds characteristic of the steppe culture, which were used for the burial of important individuals, often accompanied by grave goods such as weapons, jewelry, and sacrificial animals. The Kurgan people were skilled horsemen, and their mastery of horse riding and chariotry gave them a significant advantage in warfare and mobility. This, combined with their possession of metal weapons, enabled them to expand their influence and migrate into new territories. Indo-European migrations. Beginning around 4000 BCE, the Indo-Europeans began to spread out from their homeland in a series of migrations that would eventually take them across Europe and into parts of Asia. These migrations occurred over several millennia and resulted in the diffusion of Indo-European languages, culture, and technology across vast distances. The early Indo-European migrations are closely associated with the spread of the Yamnaya culture, which emerged in the Pontic-Caspian steppe around 3500 BCE. The Yamnaya people were pastoralists who lived in small communities, often moving their herds across the steppe in search of fresh grazing land. They are also believed to have been one of the first cultures to domesticate horses for riding and to use wheeled vehicles, such as chariots and carts. From the steppe, the Yamnaya people and other related groups began migrating in different directions. Some moved westward into Europe, giving rise to the corded ware culture in Central Europe and the bell beaker culture in Western Europe. Others moved southward into the Balkans and eventually into Greece, where they are thought to have contributed to the rise of the Mycenaean civilization. To the east, Indo-European groups such as the Afanasevo culture migrated into Central Asia, eventually reaching as far as the Tarim Basin in present-day China. One of the most significant migrations involved the Indo-Iranians, who moved southeast into Iran and the Indian subcontinent. This migration led to the establishment of the Vedic civilization in India and the rise of the Achaemenid Empire in Persia. Language and linguistic influence. The spread of the Indo-Europeans is closely tied to the diffusion of the Indo-European language family, which is now the most widespread language family in the world. Proto-Indo-European, the ancestral language of this family, is believed to have been spoken by the original Indo-European people before their migrations began. Although Proto-Indo-European has not been preserved in written form, linguists have reconstructed much of it based on the similarities between its descendant languages. The Indo-European language family is divided into several major branches, including 1. Indo-Iranian. This branch includes languages such as Sanskrit, Hindi, Persian, Farsi, and Kurdish. The Indo-Iranian branch is one of the oldest and most widely spread, extending from India to Iran and Central Asia. 2. Hellenic. This branch is represented primarily by Greek, the language of ancient Greece and its modern descendants. Greek has a long literary tradition, including the works of Homer, the playwrights of ancient Athens, and the philosophers of the classical period. 3. Italic. This branch includes Latin and its descendants, the Romance languages, such as Italian, Spanish, French, Portuguese, and Romanian. Latin was the language of the Roman Empire and had a profound influence on the development of European culture and law. 4. Germanic. This branch includes languages such as English, German, Dutch, and the Scandinavian languages, Swedish, Danish, Norwegian, and Icelandic. The Germanic peoples played a major role in the history of Europe, especially during the migration period and the formation of medieval kingdoms. 5. Celtic. This branch includes languages such as Irish, Welsh, and Breton. The Celtic peoples were once spread across much of Europe, from the British Isles to Spain and the Balkans, but were gradually displaced or assimilated by other cultures. 6. Balto-Slavic. This branch includes languages such as Russian, Polish, Lithuanian, and Latvian. The Balto-Slavic peoples settled in Eastern Europe and played a major role in the history of the region, particularly during the medieval and modern periods. 7. Anatolian. This now extinct branch included languages such as Hittite and Luwian, spoken by the ancient peoples of Anatolia, modern-day Turkey. The Hittites were a major power in the ancient Near East, known for their conflicts with Egypt and their role in the Bronze Age collapse. 8. Tocharian. Another extinct branch. Tocharian languages were spoken by Indo-European settlers in the Tarim Basin of western China. Their discovery in the early 20th century provided valuable evidence of the eastward migration of Indo-European peoples. 9. Albanian and Armenian. These are independent branches that developed in the Balkans and the Caucasus region, respectively. Albanian and Armenian have distinct linguistic features but share common Indo-European roots. The diffusion of Indo-European languages had a profound impact on the cultures and societies of the regions where they spread. In many cases, the Indo-Europeans imposed their language and culture on the local populations, leading to the assimilation or displacement of earlier languages and traditions. However, the interaction between Indo-European and non-Indo-European peoples also led to cultural exchanges and the development of hybrid societies. Religion and mythology. The religion of the Proto-Indo-Europeans is believed to have been polytheistic, with a pantheon of gods and goddesses associated with natural forces such as the sky, the sun, the earth, and fertility. While no direct written records of Proto-Indo-European religion have been found, scholars have reconstructed aspects of their belief system based on the common features of the mythologies of their descendant cultures. One of the central figures in Proto-Indo-European religion was the Sky Father, a deity associated with the heavens and often considered the king of the gods. This figure is reflected in later Indo-European religions, such as the Greek god Zeus, the Roman god Jupiter, the Norse god Odin, and the Vedic god Dyaus Pitar. Other important deities in Proto-Indo-European religion likely included gods of war, fertility, and the earth, as well as goddesses associated with the home and hearth. The Indo-Europeans may have practiced rituals involving animal sacrifices, libations, and the construction of altars or temples. These religious practices would have varied depending on the region and the specific Indo-European culture. Indo-European mythology also included stories of creation, the origins of the gods, and the heroic deeds of legendary figures. These myths were passed down orally through generations and eventually became the foundation for the rich literary traditions of the Indo-European cultures, such as the Vedic hymns of India, the Greek epics of Homer, and the Norse sagas. Indo-European legacy. The Indo-Europeans left an indelible mark on the history and culture of Europe, Asia, and beyond. Their migrations and conquests helped shape the development of many of the world's great civilizations, including the Greeks, Romans, Persians, and Indians. The diffusion of their languages and cultural practices laid the groundwork for the linguistic and cultural diversity of the modern world. The Indo-European legacy can be seen not only in the languages spoken by billions of people today but also in the shared elements of law, religion, and mythology that connect the diverse cultures of Europe and Asia. From the ancient epics of Homer to the legal codes of Rome, the Indo-European influence has been a driving force in the development of Western civilization. Moreover, the study of the Indo-Europeans has provided valuable insights into the early history of humanity, shedding light on the movements of peoples, the spread of technologies, and the formation of societies in the prehistoric world. Although much about the Indo-Europeans remains shrouded in mystery, their story continues to fascinate scholars and the public alike, offering a window into the distant past and the origins of many of the world's most enduring cultural traditions. The Indo-Europeans were a dynamic and influential group whose migrations and cultural impact reshaped vast regions of the ancient world. From their homeland on the steppes, they spread their languages, technologies, and beliefs across Europe and Asia, leaving a legacy that continues to shape the modern world. Their influence can be seen in the languages we speak, the myths we tell, and the cultural practices we continue to observe today. The study of the Indo-Europeans provides us with a deeper understanding of our shared history and the interconnectedness of human civilization.